and buttercups and whoever you are. What are you doing here? I don't know if the title will hold up to what I want to talk about. I don't even know if I'm going to talk about anything. I want to do a show, but I just don't want to. I'm just, people's repugnance, people's, their arrogance of their ignorances. I think that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. There's no way, like, it's like half the time I really, like, I'm becoming like an old man. I'm just like, I just don't want to. Why even try to communicate anything with people? I made the glorious decision to try to teach somebody something on an Instagram post. Wildly retarded. Why would I do that? That's just silly. It's a really simple concept, but they couldn't get it through their head. They were making something very complex that was very simple. I could tell you what it is, and you could see if you could figure it out. But maybe we'll discuss that later. See if you guys, it's not like a matter of opinion. It's a mathematical thing. It's pretty simple math. And just continually on calling me an idiot that I didn't know high level maths. That I did not know high level math. I'm like, honey, I didn't even have to say this. I'm like, I guess you don't know. I was like, I had a pretty high IQ, like 142. I don't know what that means. It's like in Mensa, like went to college early. I took advanced math. I used to build things. Do I need to give you all of the reasons that I know what I'm talking about, or just here I'll give you the logic? No, just how do you help people? Even people, like, once people know something, they get stuck in that what you call well, you have cognitive bias, cognitive dissonance, and then you have group bias. Most of what we deal with is less cognitive dissonance and more group bias. We'll talk about that a little bit. Then we'll get into resource-based economy and how people won't be able to understand unless they do enough research into it, because they'll consider it something that it isn't, because they'll be using cognitive dissonance at that point. But here's what like a cognitive bias towards group bias. What's up, Jonah? What are you doing? Where am I? I'm in my pool room. So the pool's right there, and this is the pool room downstairs. What's up, Darren? So when you have group bias, this is basically just groupthink. People want to be on the side of where there's more people believing that. It doesn't matter what it is, because they don't want to be in the smaller group. They find strength in numbers, I guess. Even if you're dealing with like real world issues, real world thing, like the pool's wet, you'll drown it if you fall in. And they'd be like, well, 20 people said that wouldn't happen. You know, I'd be like, oh, okay, so side with them, go jump in the pool then. But they won't jump in the pool. That's this bias towards group opinion, group thought, group speak, group bias. And so most people, whenever you discuss something with them, they're like, well, whatever the big group is saying, they want to side with that. Whoever's winning. I guess in football you'd call them like fair weather fans or bandwagon. Everybody's bandwagoner. Like they gotta stick through the good times and the bad times. You stick with your team. Or if you come upon new information, like here's the thing with football, it's funny to me. I used to like a team, and then I realized, well, teams aren't teams. It's just I like the players. Where are the players at? And I'm basing on that. So I would go with where the quality was, where the good information was, where the good basketball or football or soccer or tennis or whatever, you know, not really tennis because it's an individual. Well, it could be doubles, I guess, but so no, people aren't interested in righteousness or good information or quality information. They're into popular information. Is that ever going to go away? Does that go away? I'll tell you it can, and it does. And I will lead in with saying it because of what a resource-based economy would do to people's opinions on what is good and what isn't good. A resource-based economy. This would be a very long talk, I suppose. I'll try to do it as quick as possible because I've done this I've done this talk very many times. Basically means that it's kind of a cashless, but not the way that you think of it. You know, when I was talking about like, hey, you know, one world government and no borders, and they think communism, they think socialism. No, it's something different. It's using resources to pick everyone up, because understanding that there is resources available for everyone. So why would you want to? It gets in the mindset of what you hear them say. You're gonna own nothing and like it. In a socialist or communist thing, that's terrible. But in a resource-based economy, when you're taking into play the different way that the mind would work. Like right now, people, they want nice things. Let me make it very simple. If you have a nice car, it's probably because you have a lot of money. So you get the money, and I get the car, I get the power, and I get the bitches. Nice car, fun to drive. And then you're gonna get the pussy. You're gonna get that wifey, right? And you get all the other cool stuff in the toys. Because that's the cool thing to have, because you got the more of this stuff. If you get rid of what is more, you would start to understand what quality is. People are not interested in quality. They're interested in more of something. Because that's how they have to view the world, based upon a paradigm of economic and financial systems that are based upon fiat currencies that take into account no resources whatsoever, but also leverage people into systems of by using income tax, inflation, and interest. It's called usury. You will always be, whoever's got more is always going to have more. And so the idea of having more is a better thing. It's what gets you something, and it's based upon it's fallacy. But if we just understood if anything's true value, we would start to have a different opinion on what we needed and wanted. You wouldn't need or want the things that you have. Most people have things because they might need it in the future, but if it was all just based upon like, something more like tribalism, how do you think animals work? How do you think tribes work? They're not out there exchanging money. Not to say that money doesn't have a place or a barter system doesn't have a place, but it would change the way people, what an in-group would be and what an out-group would be. It would change the way people perceive what is truthiness. It would change what has value, because there would be an absolute value to things. There's plenty of things that are overvalued. You can go buy a pair of Jordans that are $1,000. Well, I don't want those. I want a pair of shoes that are going to do the job correctly. That only cost $20 to make. Where's the value in having Jordans? Because somebody's like, hey, fucking cool Jordans, bro. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's how you see it. So that cognitive bias towards popular opinion or groupthink would go away, because the group in general would want to uplift the entire group. It's the whole. An anthropologist went to some tribe in the middle of the Sahara or Africa, where I don't know, somewhere, and he wanted to see about he wanted to see how they lived. He was doing the study. He goes, okay, here's all this candy, here's all this stuff, this cool things, and I want to put it across the finish line. I want all of you kids to race to get to the end. You get to the end, and some kids are faster, some are slower. And they get to the end, and the kids stop that are in the front, and they grab the other kids' hands, and they all walk across the finish line together. And the guy can't conceive of this because he comes from a capitalist mindset, and and all of the things that go into the way that he thinks the world functions. And the kid says, well, he goes, well, why wouldn't you just take all the candy for yourself? Then you could do anything you wanted with it. You could have he's like, because why would I want it all? If my brothers and sisters can't have some, and if they can't be happy, how can I be? It's a pretty basic. That's an intrinsic being. That's an intrinsic concept. Greed and everything else that we have is trained into us through parents and silly systems of economic impoverishment, of stupid religious fallacy. All of this completely changes people's understanding of what has value, what has essence. What is, it's the book, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. It's about what is quality. You know what it is, you just can't explain it. You know when something is done well. You know when something isn't done well. But I can tell you what 3 oranges look like, and I can tell you what 100 look like. And I also can tell you what 3 spoiled oranges are, and or 100 spoiled oranges and 3 fresh ones. What do you want? Or you didn't ask the qualifying questions about quality. You want 100 oranges? Okay, I'll give you 100 oranges. What's the quality of those oranges? See, people are they're interested in more of something because that's the way society is designed. It puts a fulcrum point somewhere in society by using fake currency. Even currency was based upon gold or silver was still, as I always put out there, it's not going back to gold and silver. It doesn't work that way. Because you would, if I gave you gold and silver, could you do something with it? Could you eat it? No, it has no value to you. You couldn't do anything worth, if you wake up in the morning, your kid's like, hey, I'm hungry. What's more valuable? Your gold chain for some food. And then, oh, hey, I want to go play and do something and be creative. And, you maybe get to the point in society where you say, oh, gold has value because we can make power and da-da-da-da, and it maybe does have more value at some point in some places, but considering like how much gold is on this realm, or the fact that I think there's people that know how to make it, might have something to do with throwing high voltage through mercury. But hey, what do I know? Anyway, let's see who's up in here. I did not get everybody's comments over here. Cancel culture is funny. Yeah. Yeah, they like what's hip, not what's truth. Truth. What's up, Rompe Cabeza? Scarcity mindset, yeah. Well, I mean, I can understand what validates a scarcity mindset is literally like if you don't have enough, you can't feed your family. Like who really wants to be homeless? Have you ever seen people living in the streets with kids? Oh, it's a travesty. Well, why don't you bring them in? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not going to get all that's all social, but it's a social problem due to economic dysfunction because of a system that was already built to fall and fall apart. You can't. It could never work forever, not even for a little while. In the grand scheme of things, capitalism is the dumbest thing ever. It's just as bad as any other system that you think is in play. The closest we get is tribalism, Ubuntu, resource-based economies. That's as close as we can get. It's a lot more natural way of living. I mean, well, Dan, yeah, what's up, Skull and Bones? Hey, yo. There's still a caste system in India. Yeah, there's a caste system everywhere, though. We just don't call it one. It's kind of like saying when people get involved in MLM, multi-level marketing, and they go, oh, that's a pyramid scheme. And I have to immediately just go, are you a dum-dum? Because you realize the job you work at, that's a pyramid scheme too. There's the CEO making the most, and then there's the board of directors, and then there's the management, and then there's more middle management, and then what do you think? The pay grade, and how many of these people is a perfect triangle? But they just don't call it that because it's in a building. It's no different. What do you think? You think if you started a business, you wouldn't be paid the most, and that you wouldn't take on 2 employees? And like, if I made $100,000 a year, and I took on 2 employees, I was like, hey, I'm happy with 60, and I give them 20 and 20 to do some work, and then I do less work, and they do some work, and they do half the work. Everybody's happy. Okay, well, hey, if you can get your work done and you pay somebody half of that, go for it. How do you think of it? That's how it's always worked. Unless, of course, you live in a system that doesn't rely on economics in that way, or what you'd call currency, what you'd call economic systems, which have to do with more than just money. Economic systems is what scales of the economy are. The economy doesn't imply there's even supposed to be a dollar there, but that's a whole other thing. What's up, Chris Dolat? Mrs. Anderson. What's up, Divine Hazel? What's up? What up, AJ? What you doing? Hootie hoo. Whoop whoop. Rampe Cabeza. Some sources say we have plenty of resources, others say we have limited. Well, I would assume the people that are telling you that there's limited resources are the ones trying to control your perception. You know, obviously, if you're in a field and you're in a grape, if you're on a farm and you harvest grapes and pickles and cucumbers, well, that's what you have. That's your system of what you have. But on a larger scale, if we up the scale to look at what's going on here, we take a look at what we have. And if we said, hey, we only have this much of this one item on the planet for everybody, we should be very intelligent in what we do with it. But for the things that people need as an everyday thing, there is way more than enough. It'd be moronic to think otherwise. Right now, there's more than enough housing for everybody. Yes, it's more than enough water because the water system is a closed system. We're not running out of water. We got water, we got food, we got shelter. We're getting through Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? We'll be right up to the point where we have, okay, now we're building society. Now we got social functions that are screwed up. People are doing drugs and stealing. Why? Because they don't have enough. Now, if they have enough, they're not going to go to the point of taking drugs. They're not going to need them. They're not going to want to escape the paradigm of what reality is. The system places the fear and there's not enough. That's placed there. There are certain things I'm sure that there's not enough of, but like, what are those things exactly, and what do we use them for? Because as far as I can tell, I look in garbage cans and there's all sorts of shit in there that could be used again. I'm not saying recycled or whatever, but sure, maybe some of these things could be recycled, but like, should I go and get a plastic bottle every day? No. Why isn't there a big thing there that I can take my cup with and fill it up? And then all of a sudden, no, we don't need plastic things. We can just use the cup. That's my cup. Okay, what do you really need? Your clothes, your house, that's yours. It's not public property. That's your private property. That's your shirt. That's your cup. That's your plates. But beyond that, like, what else is there? There's more than enough transportation. If you got to get somewhere, you can get somewhere. There's buses, there's cars, there's bicycles, there's your feet if you like walking, there's airplanes. Now we get rid of the belief that airplanes run on gas, and all of a sudden, I guess the fossil fuel thing is a big joke too. We're not running out of fossil fuel because fossils don't make fuel. It's idiotic. The fuels that you think you're getting to run your car come from corn. Gasoline comes from oils from the middle of the country where they're making corn, when the oils get distilled down to alcohol, and alcohol is running cars and farm machinery. I mean, what do you think the whole thing of prohibition was? So people weren't drinking alcohol? Had nothing to do with that. It had to do with they wanted to take power away from people running their own farm equipment. So there's plenty of enough things here. What's up, Christopher Lee? What's up, Damien? What up, Damien? The Unfolded. Let me see if I'm missing anything here. Well, yeah, I mean, there you go. Once you cause the confusion, The art of controlling is confusion. So over information, too much information, confusion, and then you divide out of the confusion. So what do? We divide all of the different religions. Let's divide those up. What's up with the one world religion? What's up with one language? Could be no good. I mean, you could believe anything you want, but like, if you really broke down the religions the right way and let you know what they were really saying and put the history back in order, we would see that all the books are saying essentially the same thing. They're just using a different language to do it. And so much of it has been attributed. The divide and the screw up was the Tower of Babel and people babbling and changing tongues And so they couldn't understand each other. If you can't understand, there is the essence, is the author of confusion. Once you confuse people. So how could they, if they realize that all of their books have been mistranslated 50 times, but if we got back to original ancient history, and here's what's happened in this realm, and here's what we could speak a much more similar language, things become easier to understand. You ever in a conversation with somebody, you're saying the same thing, but yet, or maybe you're with a third person, because this happens a lot. 3 people are sitting there. 2 people are arguing, and then the other person, if they're aware, they'll be like, you realize this entire time you've both been saying the same thing. Sometimes somebody's like, if you're having a conversation with one person, you might notice or they might notice it. But usually that third person goes, you realize you're both saying the same thing, you're just saying it slightly different. And then the third person, that the little part, they go, well, here's what you were saying and how you were saying it. They go, yeah. And I was like, here's what you were saying and how you were saying it. Like, oh, yeah. Even using the same language because of some syntax, some semantics, some dialect, some just the way that we interact and speak and the way we tell stories. I don't know how many times I've said something to someone and then it'll get to the point where it falls on deaf ears. And then a couple months later, somebody else says it to them and they go, oh yeah. And I was like, do you remember me saying that? And they go, yeah, I couldn't hear you say it. You ever get that? You got to hear it from someone else. It's usually happens when people don't notice it. Like once you're pretty aware that this happens sometimes, it's like I can't take you telling me that. I'm gonna take this idiot telling me about something, even if it's the truth. For me, I don't really care where it comes from. But we're gonna all have these biases, where if you hear the same information, slightly different from someone else, it will make complete sense. Like, think about it. If I said the earth was a different shape than you think it is, and you don't know me, you think I'm a bearded idiot, but what if somebody that you knew for most of your life, somebody like that was in your church, was like, yeah, well, you know what, I've come to realize something, and then they go, oh, really interesting. You're smart. But me, who knows me? Why would you trust what I say? Unless you listen to me long enough, then you'd be like, well, maybe he's got a point there. It's always the fun times, huh? So I'm sitting here fiddling around with my bottle. What's up, Chris Ridley? Downstairs. My pool is right there. It's my apartment. It's my apartment complex. My pool is right here, and this is like a pool room. Pool table, couches. It's cozy. Yeah, Darren, there's a lake, there's cornfield, and then as soon as you, if we go back to that, as soon as you expand where you look at your vantage points, and because there's land everywhere. Here, go ahead and plant that over there. It all intersects. It still does now, like we look at it. Are some of the systems a little screwy with like how we get food from certain places? Like here's the interesting one. I can get cashews and almonds raw from an international market that came from another country on a plane. They didn't pasteurize them for say $8 a pound. But if I want some that were grown local or California, it is a law that they have to pasteurize them. So they heat them up and they go through a whole process, and now they're $15, even though they're made in this country and don't have to go through the taxes, tariffs, and everything else. It's actually cheaper to get the ones that are healthier from another country shipped over here. No sense at all whatsoever. So those things wouldn't happen in the way the system should be. But because the system doesn't rely on making things helpful and easy, it relies on confrontation, and combustion. That's what you tell your dad. Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah. There it is. Yeah, when you eat, what did who's that? Was it Osho talking about this? I don't know. One of those guys, right? Just came from When you're hungry, eat. When you're tired, sleep. And yeah, whatever it is, do that. You know, dude. I was Alan Watts. He goes, sit. But whatever you do, don't shake your leg. You know, if you want to shake your leg, go shake your leg. But if you want to sit, sit. Yeah, the bearded guy told me. The bearded guy in the sky, that motherfucker. Jonah, I don't know that the carbon in our body originates from corn. That's an interesting. I'll put some ideas together on that for you. I mean, because there is the old Mayans talking about where they learned to make corn, and they said it was from the actual plant life itself that it asked some plants like, hey, I want to make something, and they showed them how to make corn. This is kind of it could have been like, they could have asked the giants, or they could have asked the Anunnaki or something, or maybe perhaps. But as far as I got the information is they had asked the plants how to make corn. I don't know if it was for fuel, because that's what we've ended up using it as, but the carbon supposedly, that's a longer talk. Just go watch Ewars. He talks about the silicon system, the silicone systems, the water, and the carbon systems, and how those kind of translate. Yeah, Alan Watts. Oh man, listened to him for years. Alan Watts is that guy. Hot vodka, yo. Oh, speaking of, I have a refrigerator here. Give me a second. I think there's some ice cubes in here. Hold on. Big win for the vodka crew. I don't know how well I should trust that ice, because people come and have parties in here and they just throw like stuff in the freezer. I don't know, like raw chicken and shit. I mean, not for real, I don't know. I don't know what they put in there, but cool. A smash and grab, yeah, I did. I had to smash the ice cubes out. Smash and grab the ice cubes. There we go. Oh yeah, much better. I got to mix up some iced tea. Sweet tea, cane sugar, can't beat it. Jonah, no, I don't believe I have. I mean, I'm probably have come across him. I'm assuming it's him. Probably, but on a daily basis, I might listen to like 10 new things, and I'm just like, I can't remember everybody's name. Like I was at the pool the other day, and it was like, oh, listen to this. I was like, I haven't heard that. I'm like, oh shit, put this on. I was like, can't remember all of this. So I'm gonna try to keep this under an hour. I don't know how much farther I'm gonna go with this. What's up, Stan? What are you doing? It's 86 degrees underneath palm trees. And will that burn my calories? Yeah, the sun is out here. It was a little overcast when the sun came out. I might have to go get a little sun charge. 86 degrees. That's a perfect temperature. I prefer just a little warmer. I like to be on the verge of almost sweating. Like right about 91. As long as there's a little bit of cloud in the sky, so I can catch a couple cool moments. Oh, okay, I got you. It's from 2005. Okay. Yeah. I was just like, okay, when I did that, I was like listening in my head of like things that I knew from the early 2000s. Well, speaking of, oh, you guys, yeah, I'm gonna get out of here in a little bit. I have to, because uh, because Mark Rebele, and Reggie Watts, and who else was it? They're doing a live show in like a little bit. So I think it might even be right now, but I don't know if it was at 4 or 5. I don't know if it was like Eastern or Central Time. But you should look it up. I mean, obviously, if they're live, go listen to them over me. Yeah, Reggie Watts and Mark Rebele, and I can't remember who the other one was. Yeah, that's what's up. That's what you gotta do. What's up, Brian Gamble? What are you doing? How's life? Speaking of music, speaking of good music. What time is it over there? It's like what? So if it's 4 here, then it's probably 2 over there, huh? Or am I doing the math backwards? Yeah, I hear you. Well, oh, maybe I'll send you a video on. Somebody did a breakdown of the difference in Kundalini. Well, you see, you have the Eastern and the Western Kundalini. One is called like a cold Kundalini, and one's called a hot Kundalini. And the breakdown, I think, was probably Savan did one of the initial ones. And then somebody did a breakdown of what they had called, so you got the electromagnetics, then you got Kundalini, which is perhaps chemical. And then you have what somebody called the Holy Spirit. And they were saying, some people were claiming it to be all different things. Which I don't, I think people are just experiencing it different. Because your body getting charged up with energy is just that. It's how you use it. I mean, but there seems to be a Western and Eastern energy of Kundalini, one being cold, one being hot. And the Eastern is cold and the Western is hot, I believe. I believe that's how it works. I couldn't break it down for you right now. That would take a long time. You need to ground out. Yeah, I hear you. I'm about to jump into the pool in a minute and shake off some loose leaves. Yeah, you saw him live. That's awesome. 10:02. Okay. Yeah, John. Yeah, take the spookism out. The spookism is that. It's as simple as that. Like you could break it down and say, it's either chemical, because there's a whole book called the Biology of Kundalini, which is a huge book. So this is like a technical chemical science person breaking down Kundalini. I was like, that's a lot of read. I read some of it, and then you have the people who say, no, it's just like the spirit of the force of the energy of the one divine source. And then you have the people that are, the body is electromagnetic. Of course it's electromagnetics. And so then it's like, well, maybe it's all three, wherever you're plugged into, you're grounded, and then the electromagnetic system shoots up and all of a sudden chemicals go up into your brain. Seems about right to me. I mean, you could have one of those working without the other three, which is pretty much where we live all the time anyways. Sometimes you're excited about something, but you don't have the energy to do it. Like you're mentally excited, physically it's not there. I mean, I think these things are something to do with our electromagnetic stereo system, such as the idea of using acupuncture to open up pathways and channels, and then something chemical, like a chemical imbalance. People have chemical imbalances because chemicals are going to, depending on what kind of fluid something is sitting in, it's going to have a different energy go through it. So I think that's a major thing that occurs. I can't tell. But then you also have, are you plugged into the source? Meaning, it's gonna be a lot easier if your feet are on the ground. It's as simple as that. Or like you're like, oh, it's all in my head and I'm connected to the heavens and like, yeah, but put your feet on the ground. The health, yeah, that's hilarious. Well, finger bang. Hey, I say finger bang and kiss anybody you want if they like it. Even if it's your dog. But I'm not sure your dog will be into that. Although I do know some people, they seem like their dogs are into that kind of weird stuff. You ever see a dog humping someone's leg? I'm like, oh. Feet on the ground, bottom of the seat. Yeah, I mean, there's three good points. It's your feet, your knees have fluid in them, or you could use your spine. It's kind of like if you were to do a whippet, sit down. You don't want to be standing up. If you were in a mode of prayer on your knees, there's a different thing because there's fluid in your knees that balance out the thing. So you go directly up the spine through your coccyx, through your sacrum. I mean, what's the difference between a coccyx and a sacrum? Are they interchangeable, or just one coccyx describes the sacrum? Whatever. So you got those 5 bones fused together down there, and then you have your feet. Knees are, a lot easier to work with, depending on the level, the deepness of meditation, versus like walking meditation, or just standing there staring at the sun. Yeah. Yeah, I hear. No, granted, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, but for me, I can't even. The people on the TV, I can't listen to anything they say. Zero, nothing. Anybody, like, whenever I hear people that are into the conscious community, like, bring things up like that, I'm just like, haven't we already just across the board just said what they're doing? Stop paying attention to those idiots. They're doing ritualistic psychological magic, and if you're not smart enough to get that it's all bullshit, all of it, I don't care whether it's occurred or not, which most of the time it probably did not. They're just using it as a psychological operation on the entire population to keep you paid attention to them. There's no such thing as bad media. It's only, they just want the attention. It's energy goes where attention is focused, right? So like, whatever. Two shits what they have to say, what they do. They can go have their little parties and do whatever they want. I don't care. Like, well, look at all this crazy stuff that's going on. And the health minister and this guy, there's the doctor, and but they're still on the TV. Obviously, they don't care. Obviously, no one cares. It's like people, to me, whenever they're making fun of people and being all like weird about people that are on TV in Hollywood or whatever, like, oh, they're also blah 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 blah. I'm like, if you had a lot of money and power and you could just go to a party and be naked and have intercourse with who you wanted to, I bet you would do that. I apologize, you haven't been to those parties. They're a lot of fun. I think you should try it. But these people, they're fat and out of shape and stupid, and they're just rather be jealous of what they're not doing. Now for me, I'm into 1 or 2 women at a time. But I can understand why people want to go do all that shit. Are you gonna judge them for it? It's moronic. And then even people that are like against like Christians that are against. I love this one. My favorite. The Christians that are like, oh, they're into like having, they keep it in there. They always having sex with their cousins and whatever. I'm like, you realize that the Bible in the beginning, everybody in the Bible was having sex with each other, right? Because how else would the next generation have been made? Because we came from the first thing, and then who were they? Who were they? Remember, in the Eden? So either the Bible, either you're lying about where the people came from, because they did go to the land of Nod, remember? So that's a whole different species. I mean, whatever. I just don't really care. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, dual. Well, it's a dual to dual. Yeah, they want to like the friction. Friction is heat. They want to cause heat, but that's not the opposite system. It can work too. Well, not even opposite. Friction, heat, dualism, but inverting energy would be magnetic and more holistic, right? This is why everything kind of the real thing would take it more feminine or magnetic or magnesium, magic, all of these words, because it's a cooling system. It's like it's inverting energy, but that's not even in dual. Those systems are just completely different systems. Even within the heat system, it's a dual system, but even within the cooling system, it's a dual system. So it's actually a quad system. If you're running an electrical system, electricity needs magnets to run. It's electromagnetic, but magnets run because of electricity. Just because you have something that's an explosive engine, it's using combustion. You can do the opposite. You can have implosive, but it still requires both of the energies to take place. So it's actually a quad system. The system's really trinary. The system's trinary. Think of when you plug something into the wall. You have three things. You have the hot, the cold, and then the ground. That's what you got. What do you think's going on in the sky? The sun, the moon, and the ground. It's a trinary system. The Father, the Mother, and the child. They say the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. A lot of whoo talk there. I don't know why it's got to be the Father and Son. Where's the woman at, right? Is that the Holy Spirit? However you want to break it down, it's a triangulated system. Trinary system. Yeah, well, so there you go. The yin and yang, I mean. Yeah. And they did, which is interesting about getting married younger when the Bible was supposedly written, is how old those people probably lived to be. Were people getting married for, and what was marriage at the time? What was the purpose of the marriage? Was it because they would be with the same person forever? Do you know? I mean, was that it? Or was there other things going on? And also, I mean, what else was functioning in society? Like, we're so far removed from whatever was going on. Like, we think of it in the ways that we consider marriage today, which is state, and it's a statist / religious thing, where marriage then was something different. Because the religion didn't exist. The religion came after the ideas that was written about, right? They weren't. Isn't like saying, how could have those people that are writing about been Christians when the religion didn't exist then? The religion came after them. It's like to say that I came out the womb and my religion is Atman, right? That's my religion, right? I could not come out like that. I became that, and then somebody would be like, oh, I'm Atmanish or whatever. Like, but I wasn't that. You see, that's like all the books, like that was written after, and so then people later followed the books. It's like if I'm making a recipe, I write the recipe book, the cooking book afterwards, and then people follow the recipe. So the person that wrote the cooking book wasn't. What's up, Linda Sullivan? Oh, I know. Yeah, the giant trees. What's up, Alexander Morgan? Let me see what else we got going on here. Yeah, the giant trees. I mean, that was. I'll try to re-release that video, but I gotta listen to it again. What's up, Johnny Dez? Yeah, the giant trees. Like, that's the biggest thing. It's like if we want to understand where we are and what time we are, tell me about the size of the trees. There's no reason the trees that are existing out there shouldn't be bigger. Why are they all the same height? Why are there places there are no trees? Why is it only in the redwood with all these old trees that are so big? Why is it just there? Why nowhere else? Where do you find trees that big? Why only there? I mean, I could go through and answer the questions, but yeah, I mean, of course, it becomes more and more apparent the size of things, giants, etc. I mean, it becomes extremely apparent. But yeah, I mean, because all of the big trees were turned into beaches and the middle of the country where nothing's growing. Well, why are the nothing land that then they started to recrop later? Where are all the trees there? Why is the trees there? What about the deserts? What are all the mining operations? Like this land, as far as we can see at this point, without question, it was a quarries, and mining. That's what it was. It was everything that we think of as everything you think it is not. The mountains, not mountains. You know, the trees or buildings that got melted, which the buildings were giant capacitors and parts of an electrical system. The sand, quartz crystal, silica trees. I mean, everything we're looking at is not exactly as it appears. If you really just opened your brain up and just walked around with a child that was like curious about it and you didn't tell them anything, they'd be like, oh, what's that? How's that happen? And then if you had to give them an honest assessment and answer, you get to the point where like, I don't really know. Like, what do you think? And they would come up with a better answer than what we're given. You could let a child write a history book, and I bet you'd be way closer to the truth. They start looking at these really big buildings, and you're like, do you see how big those are? And they'd be like, yeah, like who built those? Like, do you think somebody like my size could? Like, no. Like, yeah, exactly. The trees be antennas. Yeah, I think so too. I hear you on the antennas. Silica antennas. I mean, because you think of it, your hair is silica based. That's why I told people you wanna grow longer hair and fingernails. Go eat bamboo or sugarcane, but bamboo is probably the fastest growing. Probably hemp has a lot of silica in there too, but they're antennas. Your hair is antennas. So why wouldn't those trees be? Yeah, in the Amazon. Yeah, I can't make that. I've only seen a few videos of that. Hold on, let's get this set up here. How's the brutality? Oh man, please don't make me do the veganism thing and animal products right now. I'll just give you this much. Everybody already knows my take on this. Everybody does. And because it's the truth. Veganism is retarded. That's all there's to it. We're supposed to have, we have a very big connection in nature. Milk and honey are of a very high value of food. They're death-free foods. They're very good for you. They're extremely healthy. Eating meat should be done in very small quantities and depending on your environment. Eat local and eat fresh. That's about all I can say. The veganism thing is retarded. I've already covered it so many times. And the only thing that I get now is either somebody's really interested because they're on the fence about it and they want to know something. If anybody comes and like, well, I'm a vegan and I know this, I'm like, oh, I can't talk to you. Like, this is not going to work. You don't want to know anything. You already know better. They'll figure it out as soon as they start falling apart and not understanding they're turning into plastic. Eggs, yogurt, milk, butter. Those are death-free foods. If somebody says that eggs are death, I don't just want to have the conversation. It's just too long of a conversation for somebody to be so certain of something that can't really understand it. And I've already read plenty of. I've done a few videos where I read giant passages from some really, really next level teachers that definitely are of a higher value than these people are talking about with their religious vegan cult notions. These are, again, I'll say this just so everybody remembers this. People that hate Hollywood are the same people that go, let's be vegan, and they want a green car. And I'm like, well, didn't you just say that you hate everything and Hollywood is crazy and they want you to do the wrong things? How many people in Hollywood are pushing the vegan agenda? All of them. How many are pushing electric cars? All of them. So if you think it's so evil there, you better second guess what you're eating. If you're eating, you want to go ahead and eat vegetation and fruits, good idea. Once you get into vegan product, I don't want to hear about it. Aquaria, interesting, yeah. Aquarius, yes. Hey, Alexandra, I have no other way of speaking. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, there you go, brutality. Eat what you need. Eat what you need. Don't overconsume. I mean, think of other animals that. No. Are we more intelligent? Could we survive without eating animals? Yeah, in different places we can, but there is, animals do die. People do die. Things do, like a dead animal another animal will eat it. There's a whole process happening here. We ferment food. I know vegans that won't eat fermented food because it's living. This is real. And I was like, oh, so cultures, bacteria, no, they don't. They want it. They need the raw diet. I was like, all right, what did we say? Can't even with these people, yeah. Brutality. Yeah, well, yeah. Most people are harming themselves. I know I've had this conversation multiple times with people that when I first got into, when I was vegetarian, very big, but I was like, I would never be a vegan. It's ridiculous. And was talking about like the tenets of what veganism is and and they're like, oh, I'm the chapter leader from the like, like they're like the head honcho of veganism, and they were just basically saying, I was like, so you're gonna eat something that's made in a lab that could or couldn't be bad for you as long as there's nothing to do with animals that went into making that? And they're like, yes. I was like, so you'd eat something that's poisonous to you as long as it doesn't damage an animal, and that's part of the tenets. I'm like, it's moronic, but go for it. Just keep your insanity away from me. You're plasticizing your brain. You're not making any sense, and you're becoming a robot, a slave to your. It's not a religion, though. It's kind of bougie. And it's also a big fad. Where did it come from? Nobody was. I'm certain of vegetarian cultures, but I'm also certain those vegetarian cultures also consumed milk, perhaps eggs, and definitely honey. So, if you say vegetarian, evo-lacto-vegetarian, that was a big part of the culture. Most of the cultures were like the high-level cultures, the longest lived, the most healthy, intelligent ones. That's what they consumed. Small amounts of meat here and there, and that was more like every once in a while. Yeah. Johnny does. What did you eat? What kind of meat? Did you have it raw, or did it cooked, or what did you eat? Well, I mean, if you look at different tribes too that are very into eating meat, very much into eating meat, they respect it in the sense that they go, if we, like, think of the Dalumari, and they get drunk on tequila all night, and they chase down the animal. They don't use bow hunting. They don't use anything. They chase down the animal because animals' respiration, they don't sweat, so they don't perspire. So their respiration, if they're breathing in and out, that's how they're getting rid of heat. They'll get them to the point of falling over and dying of heat exhaustion, and then fresh meat right there, and they're thankful for it. And then these cultures, they know even if they were using bow hunting or different ways of killing the animal, even if they were raising this livestock, they know that they're getting something from using the animal. They're going to eat the heart. They're going to eat the liver. They're going to consume the whole thing. They want the bone marrow because they respect the life that it went, and they go, well, now the spirit is out of that life, right? Because these people are vegan, very spiritual, right? Well, then we've let the spirit out of that body and it can go into a new body, right? That's how it works. Or does it not? It's like watch Chinese people that are, not Chinese, maybe Japanese, maybe that's where it comes from. Watch fishmongers, really good ones. They explain it, why and how they kill the fish the way they do, so that it feels no pain. There's a spot like that they use their knife that they studied it. This is how we do it. And then they eat the raw fish, sushi. Tasty, delicious. Thank you. Yeah, out brutality. I mean, yeah, obviously. As much as anybody on the internet, I pushed to say that raw food aged urine. Yeah. But is that going to work for everybody? No, because people are in transitional phases to get to that point. The highest form of diet would be breatharianism, aetherism, breathing, then urine, water, juices. Lower level would be vegetation, perhaps some animals. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it works. I think it was Fela Kuti. No. Whose song was it about how fish have like why they eat fish? It was like a Rasta, and it was just saying like fish don't have a soul, they don't have feelings. You know, like sharks and whales don't eat that, but fish are different creatures. It's a different species altogether. You know, and I thought that was very interesting, considering the idea of what fish are. You know. Are they lower level? Like, I mean, you know, what if somebody was bigger than you and they just wanted to pick you up out of the sea and eat you? Like, well, then, guess what am I gonna do about it? Divine Dispenser does bioteen work. I don't know what that. I don't. Thank you, Johnny Does. Yeah, Linda. Funny enough, I used to talk to a chick that dated him for a bit. I'm trying to remember who the hell it was now. I just talked to her. Like I just knew her, and I was like, oh my god, you dated him? She's like, yeah. So she knew him, and I don't know. Like she knew him after his channel was done. So he was still alive and kicking. I never. I was supposed to do a show with him a long time ago. I talked to him once or twice over email, and then because my channel was just like brand new, whatever. And then it was kind of like Master Earth. It was like what happened to Master Earth. I contacted him like maybe 2 years ago, and I was like, hey, you still kicking? He's like, yeah, man, but I guess I have nothing else new to say. He's, you know, I was like, yeah, okay, cool. As long as you're good. It's like some people like when you get like the YouTubes, like for me, I do this multiple reasons because I enjoy it. I have something new to say, and because I make it's my income. If this wasn't my income and I had something else going on, I could turn this off tomorrow and you guys would never hear me say another word. And I would be fine with this. Would I come back on here once in a while, like, hey, what's up guys, just saying hello? You know, yeah, of course I would. I wouldn't leave it all hanging, but you know, he's got other things going on in his life. That's just my assumptions. Steak shawarma. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure about exactly how they did it, but it sounds about right. What's up, Earth? Really? The most things, most animals I probably could not kill. I'm very. That was always the question I had for people when I was very vegetarian. That's the question I had for people. Like, what could you kill? Like for me, a fish. Oh, I got no problem. I've killed fish. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't even like, oh, do you not have feelings for everything on earth has feelings? Like whatever. Yeah, I get it, but I guess that's where my stop loss is. I don't have any empathy for the fish. You know, I mean, but no, I could kill a fish, and it's really not that difficult. It's kind of like if you're walking along, you're stepping on. What, do you not care about the ants you're stepping on? You certainly don't, or else you would just sit the fuck down and never move. Sit in the corner. Shut up. That's what I want to say to vegans. Like you're killing animals. You're a speciesist then. As just like people get a little too cuckoo with it. So yeah, you wouldn't. I don't think most people. If you've never been fishing and you never had like someone teach you how to gut and clean a fish. I mean, and the fact that we're arguing about this and there's people that are like chopping each other's heads off and shooting each other in the face and we're arguing about whether or not someone can kill a fish, I think that's a little, I think we've lost track of something here. Oh, the skull, that's wicked, yeah. Is there a way to generate sperm faster? Yeah, I think there is a couple of things. Remember, your semen is regulated on your kidneys. So things that support your kidneys. And there's also a few increased uptake of water. I forget what kinds of coconut juice, water, and then there is some certain. Let me think about soy. No, not soy. Like lecithin. Again, soy is not good or bad. It's made to be bad in this culture, but it's not bad where it originally came from. There's a whole process that goes into making it garbage. Like if you call somebody a soy boy, I get it. I get why. But soy used in so many Asian cultures, it's part of their diet. It's not like they're not eating fish too, and maybe some pork and stuff, but it's because they're fermenting it and doing the right things with it. But yeah, kidneys. Just look into kidney. Maybe Dr. Christopher, his kidney support formula. And just read whatever's on that. I wouldn't suggest getting that because the dried pills, you don't know where it's coming from. It's overpriced, and you can probably just get those things fresh or cheaper local sources. Linda Sullivan. Why do you remove videos? You realize my channel's gotten shut down like 4 times, right? And I just removed 3,000 videos off of my channel. You know, I used to have about 3,400 videos. They were about an hour to 10 hours long. And why I took them down is because if I didn't, then YouTube would have copyright. They would have taken my entire channel down. Anyways, I won't be able to do this. There's a chance that YouTube did it. You know? There's all sorts of people that are out here saying good things and uplifting things and blah blah blah, and they destroyed the channels. And so that's why I took 3,000 of my videos. That's 4 years of work. I just was like, put it aside, because if I left them on there, there's a chance I said something in one of the things, and they're gonna run an algorithm. And if I said some shit in there, somebody could just click on my video and be like, oh, he having a copyright strike, block, claim, whatever. And they'll shut my channel down. You only get 3 strikes. 3 strikes per whatever amount of time. So I do like Bill Hicks. He's still alive. Come on, everybody knows who Bill Hicks is. Yeah, prostate gland. I'm assuming. I think I've had like one or 2 chicks kind of play around in there. Earth. You get. Oh well, you gotta get. Well, that's guilt. Guilt is deeper. The guilt thing that you're having, the guilt and shame thing runs deeper than you care about the ant. Yeah, whenever I can get really high. I can get high as hell and eat a bunch of mushrooms, get stoned, whatever, and go, oh look at the ant, it's so beautiful, and let a fly land on me, let a mosquito suck blood out of me, and yeah, of course I could do this just now. I'm like, of course I care about that, but like, you can't, if you can't live life considering everything, you, if you did, you would. It's called. Oh, in the business world, they call it. Oh, I can't think of it. It's like when you overthink something, so you can't make a decision. So that fear and guilt that go into things, that probably from upbringing, post-traumatic stress disorder, perhaps religion that always shames you, guilts you. Obviously, governments, that's their job, shame and guilt, and they instill that to you, that you get to the point where you're like, oh my God, I gotta care about this little. Like if you had a choice in the matter, I mean, let me try to rid you of some of that. If you could make sure that 10 ants are okay, or that dog sitting there, if you have a question in your mind as to whether or not to take care of that dog or to kill 10 ants, then you have some major league problems. And it's just that simple. There are things, there are creatures, there are things that are more important. Not everything has the same value. Not really. I know you've met a lot of people that their life is pointless, worthless. They do not have as much value as other people. It just is. In the grand scheme of things, everyone's life has value, and so does these animals and stuff. But if you really are gonna get so stuck in that mindset, yeah, if you can't figure out that like, oh, there's an elephant or an ant, and you can't make the decision to kill an ant, I don't know. Oh, it's called paralysis by analysis. Paralysis by analysis. I'm analyzing. What if that ant was gonna walk over there and the butterfly effect, and it was gonna save something else, but that elephant's gonna trample the village. I think people get stuck in that paralysis by analysis all the time. Darren, yeah, that is, yeah. A woman's fanny. I've never heard that before. I've heard of eating vagina, because there's different juices there, and not only there's urine and stem cells, and depending on what you think of as a woman coming, and there's different fluids there. Yeah, certainly. Divine dispenser, you have to keep it. If you have to keep it open. So here, look, I'll show you what to do. So it's tight. Just go like this. There it is. That's where you want it. It's still on, but it allows some air to escape. So it's allowing it to aerobically breathe. If I put this on, aging it's going to do nothing. It won't age. It will basically stay the same thing that it is. It would change a little bit, because you're not going to put the cap on there perfect, so it's still going to have a little bit. But take it off, or put cheesecloth on it, put it on nice and loose, and it'll alchemize and change it into higher pH, closer to alkaline, way higher alkaline. Depends on how long you keep it in there. Brutality, yeah, to a degree. The whole question you put there. I'm not gonna say any of those words though, because I don't want any triggers on here for the. I've learned that there's just some things that I don't want. I don't feel like I'm getting in. If you ask the question, you could just tell by. Of course, yes, to a degree. I don't think it's as explicit as people say, but there is certainly higher forms of being, higher intelligence and lower intelligence. There's people that will never not be cleaning out garbage cans and gutters. Are they less valuable? No, it's very valuable. I know people that take out trash that are more valuable to society than the people running businesses. But nonetheless, there are people that will be fodder, basically. No, Ryan Gamble, is David Icke that? No. He is in the sense that he's just telling you, he's like, this is what they're doing. He's like, well, he's like basically just saying, I can't do anything about it. What am I going to do? But I'll tell you what they're doing. If y'all want to get together and try to do something about it, go for it. But what am I going to do? He'd be like if there was 100 people like bombing the village, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to come and save the day. That'd be moronic. There's nothing I can do about that. I could be like, and they wouldn't care. They'd be like, yeah, it wouldn't take over the village. I was like, good. Tell everybody here to take over the village. We don't care. It's kind of what it is. Like a lot of these, some of them are gatekeepers, but yeah. Brutality. It's only a trick separate choosing hate or love. Perhaps. That's a really long talk. And I'm gonna end in about 5 minutes. I know there's a lot of people here, but I really suggest you guys go listen to that the video I'm listening to. I just haven't listened to music, and I didn't feel like doing this video, but thanks for showing up and everything. Go watch the who did I see? Mark Rabelais and who else did I say was it? Flying Lotus was the other one, and yeah, they'll be on a little bit, but yeah, brutality, the dualism, love or hate. That's a long one to get into. Yeah, Johnny does. Yeah, that's about the right answer. You saved the bee today, Skull. Good for you. Thank you for going out of your way to save the bees. Gotta save the bees. Paralysis by analysis is an intellectual disorder. Well, yeah, but it is an intellectual disorder, but it's played out in a lot of other ways too. People become very left-brained and analyze things. It could come from religious settings. I know people that are paralyzed by being anal retentive analysis due to religious backgrounds and thinking everything is a way it isn't. And so that they'll analyze everything. Well, this might be a sin, and this isn't a sin. You can be paralyzed that way too, whether you call it intellectualism or religious. It's a mental disorder certainly, but we all have times that we have to analyze things. We have to make objective choices and decisions, reason. But I did not know the Skull and Bones. That's hilarious. But you say fanny, and I immediately think butthole. I'm like, you're gonna eat a butthole? That's so weird. I didn't know that's what you had to do. What's up, Jimin? Yeah, intention behind the energy. Skull and Bones. 100 pounds a week in taxes versus 100 pounds a day for other things. Interesting concept. Well, maybe you're not understanding that completely, because the person that pays 100 a week in taxes, they're paying a lot more than that. You have to consider they're paying automobile tax, they're paying gas tax, they're paying taxes are everywhere. You have to pay income tax, then you have to pay sales tax, and you have to pay. If you go look at a list of all the taxes, it's pretty obscene. You're probably way into 60% of your paycheck. But the fact that the person that's working, it may be out their slip that's 100, so that's 400 a month. But when you really get into what they're getting taxed on, that's thousands. The junkie ain't making that much a day. The only thing that's going into that's helping the cabal would be that they cause chaos in the system. and that chaos gives them a way to order something. Oh shit, hold on a second, y'all. Ha 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 ha. Income tax is enslavement. Yeah, I mean, there's not really a tax anywhere that isn't. There's not a tax on anywhere that isn't some form of. I mean, there are some things that if I go, hey, if I do this, I'm taxing you for it, and if you're willing to accept that tax, then that's an agreement in a barter system. If I have something that's worth more than what you have, like, you know, this is a good trade. But yeah, most of it is like you can't really tax something that's like public access, nor someone's wages. Especially considering who's collecting them and where are they going. Not to get even the deeper things, but you know, if you understood that there's a difference between a budget and what's actually on the books. They'll tell you, oh, we're $8 billion in the red to the budget. It has nothing to do with what's actually on the sheet. The budget was, as they said at the beginning of the year. What they actually made and spent, they didn't tell you. It's called CAFR, Annual Financial Reports, Comprehensive Annual Financial Reports. They don't tell you what that is. There's cities, states. They're all most of them are incorporated. And those corporations, they're not in the red. They're the budgets, not what is on the comprehensive annual financial reports are ever in the red. They own assets. They own stocks. Yeah, Johnny D's, there you go. Divine dispenser, metaphysical repercussions. I mean, for me, just for me, sure. Metaphysical, like then I still have to consider, do I look good on camera? You know, like, you know, there's, for everybody, I think, yeah, sure. So everybody has, you know, some people like doing it. Some people are like addicted to it. Some people like the look in the mirror and I don't know. Some people probably have a major mental disorder because of, like, some people want to be famous, right? I don't give two shits about it. I never have. I don't prefer to be on camera. I don't prefer to be. I like talking. I like to be around people. I like to teach. I don't mind doing this because it's just an opportunity to do something. But all in all, I can see how some people probably there's a big energy succubus. They're losing part of their mind to it. I mean, where isn't there some sort of, if you got to go to a job every day, oh, there's a succubus. You know, for me, like if I don't make a couple bucks, oh, and just let you guys know, this is how I pay my bills. So if you do have any other questions, you can always hit me up for a one-on-one if you want to go deeper on anything. Theoluminous, TheoluMinous @gmail, and you can do one-on-one with me, or if you just want to because you're awesome and I'm awesome, and you want to donate to me, you can. CashApp, PayPal, it's beneath. TsarXen. Oh, and Venmo too. So that'd be really nice if you guys want to donate. Keeps a roof over my head, keeps this thing on. So I can keep educating and entertaining. The crisis opportunity, I mean, yeah, I like it, but I don't like it in the sense that because it's manufactured. Like what you're saying now that's occurring in the grand thing that's happening, like the system was made to be broken apart on purpose. I mean, did everybody involved in it know they'd be at the point of just going, okay, let's destroy the supply chains? No, they didn't think that. They didn't think that. But the idea that there's manufactured by men, the system, like the aspects that they're pulling apart. If you didn't see, it was kind of already, they're doing that on purpose. It's kind of, but it's like watching any media. The only difference now is before it used to be just like, I can't believe they're saying all this weird shit on the media. Now it's like, you go to the grocery store and you're like, oh, there's not as much groceries. Why is that steak $10 when it used to be $5? Why is that chicken so much more expensive? Why? That's what they're doing. Like it's artificially, manually regulated, the whole system. Yeah, there you go, man. Johnny does. You couldn't have said it any better. Yeah, manufacturing crisis for opportunity is authoritarian. Yep, there you go. Yep. Yeah, I like to. I could, when I could explain it textbook style, but I like to explain it kind of out there, so people go, oh, I get it now. Yeah. Like, here, would you like me to read the chapter 1 for you? Hey, check it out, everybody. It is 4:50, and I'm going to call this a show. And Johnny, I'll get next show. I'll do, or what up, Divine? Yeah, Divine Dispenser. We'll get into that on the show. Everybody else, feel free. Dollars, even if they're nickels. Dollars, $10. You want to pay my rent? It'd be great. You want to keep my phone on? That's awesome. If you got $1, if you want to buy me a beer, you can do that. We'll talk soon. Be weird. I might come on later tonight. I don't know. But I'm gonna go get a little pool time and go listen to some music. I suggest you do the same. Feel free to hit like, subscribe, thumbs up, all that good stuff too. We'll talk soon. Toodles, toodles, everybody. Have a beautiful day.